Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Steve holding a giant chunk of land statue, which you can then build an awesome house on top of. Side note, this tutorial does not actually come with a house tutorial. I only show you how to build the statue and the giant bit of land on top of it. Prices may vary. So here are all of the materials that we will need to make our statue. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. And now that we have all of our stuff, we can get started. So the first thing that we are going to do in making our statue is we are going to place a row of 7 light blue concrete extending up from the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are then going to extend that 7th block upwards and backwards diagonally by 2. So 1, 2. We then want to go left by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to go down by 3. So 1, 2, 3. We want to go back on ourselves to the right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we want to join down to the ground and then back to ourselves. So we want to have this rather solid shape here. So the shape that we have created, we actually want to extend it across in a few different places. So we want to extend the bottom of the foot here to the right by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, join together. We then want to copy the shape that we actually have on the opposite side. So if you raise up the corners and you copy the exact same light blue concrete area that we have just created and just extend it up and around like this, we want to end up with something that should look like that. So that is looking pretty good, and that is one of Steve's legs. So what else do we have to do? Well, we have to come back to the build here, and we want to join the bottom and top of these rows together, the bottoms and the top of the row together like this. And then we want to extend the top row across. So we want to come to the top and we want to extend across. And we want to extend across by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this, right? We then want to go down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we want to extend backwards by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we want to join down to the ground like this. What we then want to do is we want to extend forwards by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we want to extend upwards. I don't think we have anything to connect to yet. We don't really. But what you can do is you can actually extend upwards. And you can join back onto the shape that we kind of first started. So we end up with this kind of like L shape here. It's actually kind of like an I, isn't it, really? So actually it is an L. I don't know my numbers. I'm losing my mind. I don't know my letters apparently. That's the L shape that we have just created. I'm slowly going crazy in this tutorial. What we then want to do is we want to take the bottom corner of what we have just made and we want to extend it across to the left by 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we want to raise it up and we want to join it back to what we've just made. So you can actually see the outline of Steve's legs as we have made them here. Not only that, you want to take the back corners of the build, so these 2 back corners of the feet, and extend them across by 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and we can join them top to bottom like this, and we can join front to back like this, and we want to copy the same shape that we have there, so we kind of want to turn it into an L. Definitely not a number, or an I. We want to turn it into an L, and we want to extend forwards, and we want to join up like this. So you can see the outline of Steve's legs. He kind of has this kind of like he's down on one knee, kind of like struggling pose. We also have to make Steve's boots. These are quite simple. So Steve's boots are 2 rows thick, and they are at the bottom of the legs. So if you just leave a gap of 2 at the ends of the feet area and place a band of light blue concrete all the way through the foot like this, then that kind of marks out Steve's boots. So that's one here, and then you can use actual blocks like I have to mark out 2 blocks. I'm using diamond as that is going to be one of the predominant materials that we have, and that will just mark out the boots, and we can fill all of that in later on. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to make Steve's torso. So Steve's torso is upright. I want you to come to the top front right hand corner of the build here where we have the leg that's kind of like straightened out that he's kneeling on. I want you to, on top of this block, place 12 light blue concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We then want to extend left 1, and then 4 by 1, and then left by 4 with the white terracotta. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 with the light blue concrete. 1, 2. And then we can just join down, so just like this. Perfect. So with the white terracotta area, I'd recommend extending the 2 middle blocks each down by 1, placing light blue concrete left and right of them, and then light blue concrete underneath. We can add a bit of detail by adding white concrete in the top left hand corner of the torso. Place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 coming down, and then the first block that you can actually place to the right, so it's not the first white concrete, the second white concrete, you want to place a white concrete block going right of that, and also one in the corner opposite, so just underneath the collar of the diamond chest. What we also want to do is place light blue concretes in the bottom left and bottom right corners of the chest area like this, and that just helps to shape the plate. The back of the build is very simple. You basically just want to take the back 2 corners of the hip area, extend them upwards and then forwards and around, and it just wants to look a little something like this, right? We then want to take the 2 bottom corners as well, and we want to extend them inwards just to shape the plate a little bit as well, and that will give us this. So very, very happy with that. That looks fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is make Steve's head, because it's one of the harder parts really, but hopefully not too difficult. On the top of the front of the body, place a row of white terracotta, and then 1 in front. Then, in front of this, place 2 white terracottas extending inwards from both sides with a row of brown concrete in between. On top of this next row, I want you to place white terracotta on top of white terracotta, place brown concretes extending inwards from them with white terracotta in between. The next row is simple by placing 2 brown concretes on the 2 middle white terracottas and filling the rest of the row in using white terracotta. What we're then going to do is the eyes. If you start by going from left to right and place a white terracotta, white concrete, blue concrete, and then 2 white terracotta, blue concrete, and then white terracotta, and then place an entire row all the way up just above like this, and we'll actually leave it at that. What we're now going to do is come to the back. We're going to take the very first row of white terracotta that we placed, and we're going to extend it backwards by 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like this. And, well, we're just going to extend all of these backwards, aren't we, by 5 rows. So that will give us something that should look like this. So that actually is okay at the moment, except for the fact that we want to place a white concrete in the 2 corners on the left and right hand sides of the face. And now we have to make the helmet. The helmet is actually going to save us a lot of work in terms of building Steve's head. Grab yourself the light blue concrete and place light blue concrete in front of and in between Steve's eyes. We take the right side of the light blue concrete and extend upwards by 1, 2, and then go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to go up to 1, 2, and then we want to come all the way back where we first started, which is this light blue concrete. Place a white concrete on top, block of diamond on top of that, and then extend to the left by 4 using your light blue concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you want to go up by 2, so 1, 2. And then you can just join all the way over to the right like this. Okay, so to make the helmet, we are going to take the bottom two corners of the helmet and we're going to extend them down. So we'll start on the right side and we'll extend the corner down. Let's make it easy. And then we'll, from this corner, extend backwards by 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then extend, like, bottom. Do a bottom right diagonal, like extending towards the back. And then extend to the right by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I then want you to extend up by 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can just join back on ourselves. So not only can we do that, but we can then take the top corner of this, we can extend it to the right, we can extend it forwards, like so. We can copy the shape that we have on the opposite side there, so I'm going to start off by extending this corner down, and then extend forwards, and then we'll do a diagonal, extend forwards, and remember that it actually extends down on the front, kind of like this, so that is actually perfect. So when it comes to the back of the helmet, it is a little bit different. So we want to take the back two corners of the helmet and we want to extend the corners down by 2, so 1, 2. We want to extend them inwards 1, so like 1, 2, and then extend inwards 1. And then we want to join them together underneath diagonally, like this. So what will that allow us to do is... My grammar is so bad today. Honestly, I'm glad that I'm not an English teacher. So what that will then allow us to do is grab some white concrete, and in the top left-hand corner of the helmet, we're going to place a little bit of a shine using white concrete. So that's basically what we're going to be doing in a few different corners. So like in the back corner of the helmet here, in the back corner of the helmet here. You can even add it in the front as well if you like. Like, as long as you just add a little bit of a shine to the helmet, just make sure that it glimmers and gleams as one would hope that a diamond helmet would. It'd be a real shame if you went to all this trouble and the helmet didn't look awesome. So fill in the helmet using diamond and just add little parts of white concrete in the corners like that. Just 3 blocks will do it, and it will just make it look as though that the diamond armor has a shimmer to it. So we're just going to have something which should look like this. Oh, we've also got to just fill the band in at the top of the helmet, just in the front like that. So you'll now be able to see that Steve is actually missing a little something. So it's quite easy to do this now. Fill in the remaining area on the left and right hand sides of the head, the exposed portions, using brown concrete. This is going to give Steve hair, and that will also simultaneously fill in the remainder of our statue. So there's only 2 things that Steve is missing now, other than, well, I mean, most of his internal organs. He's missing his arms primarily. So grab yourself the light blue concrete, and on the right and left sides we've got to do this identically. We have to place a row of, take the top front right hand corner of the body here, so just below the headline, and place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 light blue concrete extending right. We're then going to continue extending right by 2 using white terracotta, 1, 2, and then go up 1, right 1, and then up by 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we want to go right by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we want to go down by 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to go left, down, left, down, left, down. Then we're going to extend left by 2. And what we would then have right here, if I was smart enough to place it in the first place, is we would have a row of light blue concrete that actually extends down from the corner block that we started with. It extends down in a row of 3 and then would meet us. But we can then extend that light blue concrete to the left, connect it to the statue, and then upwards to create its very own shape like this. And once you've done that, what we can then do is take the square that we have made, we can extend the corners back by 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we can join all of the corners together like this. And then we can copy the same white terracotta shape that we have. So we just want to have the exact same... Here we go. So we want to have the exact same shape on the back as we do the front, and later on we'll just be filling this in. You can even, if it'll help you, you can even like connect the corners together a little bit as well. And there you go, kind of like Steve. It kind of looks like he's in kind of like a victory pose at the moment. Little does he know that he's going to have 50 million tons of concrete and grass suspended above him. So now what we're going to do is come to the opposite side of the statue and we'll do the opposite arms. So it's the same, it's just opposite. So we'll take the corner of the chest and we'll extend outwards 1, 2, 3, 4. This time we'll extend down by 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the right. We'll join up. We'll take the top corner of the arm here and we'll extend left by 2 using white terracotta. 1, 2. Up. Left, and then up by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Left by 3. 1, 2, 3, and then down by 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we basically just have to extend right and down until we line up with here. So right, down, right, down, right, down. Take a look, it does. So we can extend, connect like this. We're then going to take the light blue concrete square and we're going to raise it backwards, each of the corners back by 3. And then we're going to join all the corners together just like this. So here, here, here. And then we're going to place the exact same white terracotta area just behind us like this. Perfect. So almost there. Nice. Nailed it. So we'll have something which should look in all like this. So very, very happy with this. It's actually kind of like an awesome statue. It's almost as if like Steve's had like a victory. He's kind of like flexing his biceps. He's looking pretty happy with himself right now. So what we then have to do, other than fill him in, quite obviously, we have to add a little bit of, again, kind of like shine to his armor. So we're going to use white concrete for this, and we will start with his back. So in the back, all you've got to do is just every so often just place a little bit of white concrete. So perhaps in the top corner here, and perhaps a little bit in the opposite corner at the bottom. It doesn't have to be a lot, it's just a little bit. When it comes to the boots, I'd recommend for the boots, it's quite easy just to add, say, like one spot of white concrete in like one of the corners at the bottom of the boots. If you just add a little bit of white concrete like this, that'll actually do it perfectly. So like here, for instance, you could add it just all the way around the left side of the corners like this, and then that will do. You don't really have to do it so much for the legs because it's kind of a small area. We already have some for the chest. I'm not interested in adding it for the shoulders. There's some in the helmet. That'll actually be more than enough detail. So later on, we're not doing this just yet. Fill the armor in with block of diamond, that will be done. Fill the arms in with white terracotta, that will be done. We don't have to fill the top of the head in because what we're now going to do is give Steve his burden, which is going to be holding up our house. So here's the thing, if you have access to bedrock, it's kind of cool to use bedrock as the very base of it. I mean, it's in the name, bedrock. But if you don't have bedrock, stone is a good alternative, but I have bedrock. You want to create... Just start off with a big rectangular shape on top of your entire statue. So if you just place a giant rectangle of bedrock all the way just on top of your statue, kind of like outlining it almost, so like, you know, from each corner of the arms, extending backwards along the top of the head, all of that, you guys get the idea. Extend it forwards and backwards and across just like this. Then you'll end up with this shape. So it's not a bad shape, it's just a tad boring really, isn't it? So all we can do from here is we can extend the sides out by an arbitrary number, really, maybe by like 1 or 2, we can extend the sides out. And I'd recommend shaping it a little bit. So this is going to be different for everybody because we're not going to be going through this block for block necessarily. So extend the sides out and then shape it a little bit. Maybe turn it into a little bit of a disc shape. So then now that we've got kind of like an outline of our bedrock, on the front and the back, we're going to add rows of bedrock. And we're going to add 2 rows of bedrock. One that is 3 rows shorter on both sides as it extends outwards, so like leaving a gap of 1, 2, 3, so that block needs filling in. And we're going to add 2 rows of this, so we'll leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, and then a row of bedrock extending right and leaving a gap of 1, 2, 3 like this. So it will give us kind of like an oval shape. And the entire point of it is just so that it looks a little bit more natural. As unnatural as this house is, this house/statue is kind of both simultaneously. As unnatural as this is, it kind of gives it a bit more of a natural look. So now that you've got one layer of bedrock, and I don't think that there's any reason to add any more, but feel free to, we're just going to add a layer of stone that is above and around the layer of bedrock. So you guys might even be able to see where this is going. You might also want to make this a little bit messier, although perhaps that's a technique for a little bit later in the video. And you don't have to be so, you don't have to make sure that it's 100% perfect, because this is the idea, right, with the statue. The idea is that Steve is literally holding up a giant chunk of land with your house on it. So I highly doubt it's possible that Steve ripped out a nice smooth chunk of land. Gonna say that would be unlikely. So it would make sense if some blocks were a little bit sloppily, like that one, placed. It would make sense if some blocks melded together. So if there was a little bit of bedrock mixed in with the stone, a little bit of stone mixed in with the bedrock, grass mixed in with either of them. Maybe you went so far into such a weird dimension that you have some end block in there. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But the idea is that we want to have kind of like a little platform of which Steve has ripped our house from, and it can even be a little bit jagged underneath. You guys get the idea, right? So we can have that, and when you're eventually sick of your layer of stone, the idea would be to build up layers of grass. Okay, so here's the thing. I have grass, right? Dirt would be better for this layer, really, I suppose. Like a few layers of dirt, and then the top layer or top couple of layers would be grass. Also, depending upon where you're building this, you're not going to have any bedrock, and you probably won't have grass, as I'm pretty sure you can only get in creative, but the idea still stands. Stone and dirt will do just fine, although, you know, dirt will eventually, I think, turn into grass given enough time. So that's exactly how it wants to go. We want to build up layers and layers and layers and layers like this, eventually as it reaches ever higher, and at a certain point you're going to be quite happy with it. So I would highly recommend like taking these blocks here and, you know, just messing them up a little bit, maybe even add a little bit of grass. I mean, you know, however you want to do it, you're going to want to make it look, or at least I would. You're going to want to make it look a little bit more rigid, a little bit more jagged. It looks better if it's not just a smooth platform. So anyway, you build it up ever higher, and eventually, once you have completely filled it in, once you have added your platform, once you've filled in your Steve statue, once you have added a house on top of your Steve, you'll end up with something that should look a little bit different. Let me show you. Here's one that I made earlier. So this is Steve holding up the giant chunk of land that actually looks as though it's been ripped from the ground. You can see that we have all of the blocks that are kind of like extended out from it and down, like in a more natural way than just kind of like smooth slabs as we kind of had. And I actually placed a mansion on top of the area. So do feel free to place anything that you do want to have on top of your platform. I've just have this kind of like mansion that I've made. If you want to make this exact mansion, I'll actually leave a little link in the description for you. That'll be on my main channel. But any sort of house that you want to have on there, it'll look fantastic. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If you want to make something bigger than what I have there, then obviously you'll have to make the platform bigger, but you'll be able to do that no problem. So that's Steve, burdened by holding up your house, which you get to live in. Oh, also, I should probably show you how you get up to your house. I don't think that I've shown you guys that yet. So, if you place a door on the back of one of the legs, it actually doesn't really matter which it is. You can actually make a tunnel that will take you all the way down, or all the way up and down. Technically, it goes both ways. It will take you all the way up from the ground, all the way up to the tippity top of your house. So quite literally, you can build the ladder system all the way through Steve himself, all the way up through his leg, up his body, through his head, and then through the platform, and it will take you to the top of the platform. So that would be how you would get up and down. But that's it. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please do remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. It helps me in the channel out loads and loads. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing, clicking that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do want to make anything else by me, check out the card system description below and the top of the comment section for more. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.